Hello YouTube, hello the world. Especially Twitter and for Russian listeners. I am sure the things I'm about to discuss will have also the interest of, for example, the FSB. Why am I sure of this? Because the things I'm gonna discuss are, given the recent light of day with the Moscow terror attacks, connected, in my opinion. Maybe not directly, I state this firmly of course, but I can make a strong case about, which I'm gonna talk about in this video, about how the Dutch government, meaning the State Department, meaning our Dutch intelligence service, meaning our Justice Department and police, were not interested in investigating a potential terrorist network that I reported to them and which I put on video. I filmed everything raw and unedited back then and posted it as well. Now, the video is in Dutch. The conversations about a certain network, this network, Wild Beast Poland, and how they recruit people to basically create grenades for the Ukraine, then of course you can understand why I think it was not so far-fetched to think that this very same network that goes in the Baltics, in Poland, in Romania, in the UK, because that's the link that I followed, on which I will come a little bit later, ending up on some UK university with some professor lady, and well, I get to it. Anyways, I followed that certain link because in the battlefield of Twitter, you know, the front lines about the Ukraine war, in the opinions and this nafofella network, it's almost like you are on a battlefield. That became very apparent to me when a long-standing Twitter account, on which I never had any trouble whatsoever, became all of a sudden attacked during COVID, and when this woke shit started, when I spoke out against it, it became very apparent that a network of trolls, if you want to call it, but more than just, you know, individual trolls, that it was more like a coordinated effort to attack my account. For what? For what? Like really what? I mean, it was a small account. Why would you attack that? Why would you attack that en masse with more people than I had followers? Why? Isn't that strange? And then eventually that account got closed. So I started at some point a new account, and even a third one that was a verified account, a paid account, to report on what I just said about this network and then even that verified account got taken out on order of the German government. So now looking back at these recent events of networks, I see this whole network and why I was threatened all of a sudden to be geolocated, which they did. And not only that, after the first geolocation they also came with a drone and flew right up to the balcony where I was sitting, filming around, turning the drone 360 around and flying back over 2 apartment blocks in the next streets. So right in that very same week that they told me they would do this and that they had 50k guys who would for sure find me. Well, I was not hard to find, I told them back then, and I still tell them I'm not hard to find. And I don't care. I really don't care. So I posted a series of videos in which I talked to the AIVD and asked about the legalities of these networks, and are ordinary people who do not even realize in what they get involved into fundraising, among others, because you don't know where those funds end up. Maybe in the hands of, right, those Moscow attackers, these nafofella networks on Twitter, with a few very interesting connections as well, which I can prove are connections without doubt to the Dutch government and the Defense Department, therefore guaranteed also with our Secret Service. Back then already I made that connection in my videos. I talked about it in the Dutch language, but given the light of day of these attacks in Moscow, I thought to myself, yes, I will look back into old screenshots. Let me get my own ugly mug out of the way here for a second. And let me think back to this gentleman and how he promotes want your signature or personal message on a Ukrainian drone grenade? Blink blink. And how his comments here about politicians and how he then gets other parties involved. Let me see. No. Wait. Where was it? Oh, here is the lovely lady from that UK university that I will get into. And how then the geo threats via her nafofella network start to come. And let me see, where do we have Mr. van Noorda at work when they finally succeeded. Here we go, where we finally succeeded. They, Mr. van der Noorda and his Trollrensics army of paid internet trolls among this account, how they go after each and every one who did not follow the anti-Russian narrative, who spoke out or pointed out certain things. But it didn't strike me until recent how far this network basically goes around this gentleman. because his company has all sorts of contracts now for the Defense Department, and not only in the Netherlands, but for NATO. And now I understand, looking at what happened in Moscow, looking at this shipment of Christian ornaments via Romania, Poland, the Baltics, into Russia with explosives, mind you, behind the icons. Now, yes, I start to rethink all that material that I collected. And that's a fucking huge lot in videos and you know, the connections between people and the threats they made back then, and how certain people like Mr. von der Noorda and Russians will eat your dog, rape your 11-old daughter, torture you, and they maybe kill you. Welcome to Russian Mir. So, needless to say, someone who has Defense Department contracts, and I stumble into this network of wild bees because I get into a feud with this lady bonkers NAVO Secret Service agent. Well, indeed, she might be a Secret Service asset. Very correct so, because when I got into a feud with her about some bloody stupid meme tweets and started to look up the person, she, in who is this person and who makes these nasty memes to me, when I tried to keep as much as possible a neutral stance. So I looked her up, I scrolled down her timeline, and long and behold, to my big surprise, we are not talking about some person in the Ukraine, for example, because she got very personal with some tweets that I was like, what the fuck is going on? Therefore my interest in her. And then I stumbled onto something with this Wild Bees network, making parts on 3D printers for grenades, when at the same time we had this report about this famous war blogger, Magyar, dropping chemical grenades on Russian soldiers, internationally shown on news, on alternative news everywhere. Scott Ritter, Redacted, etc. So, in this network, when I started to follow that network, I saw, what a fucking surprise of course, certain other war bloggers, like Sarah Ashton Sherillo, he, who now mysteriously is very silent after all those threats made publicly. Remember, they will find us wherever we are. Okay. Well, she and Magyar, of course, I don't need to explain for those who followed this whole war in the Ukraine, and Gonzalo Lera and Miros Forets. Well, you know the story. But the interesting part is, I found out that this mister who makes this kind of statements, and Russia will eat your dog, rape your 11-old daughter, torture you, and then maybe kill you, welcome to Russian Mir, you know, this friendly gentleman, Robert van der Noorda, so-called journalist, with his company Trollrensics, scrubbing Twitter and the internet from Russia propagandists and disinformation. That guy was also convicted by the board of journalists because he got a fellow Dutch journalist onto the kill list Mirot for Reds. I also, when he made claims against me on Twitter in his network, that's why they started to attack me after I published something about the Wild Beast network and asked questions to him on his tweet. Then his network started to attack me heavily. And eventually 2 accounts got taken down on order, if I believe so, in the emails, by the German government. Well, long and behold, what can I say? What can I say? When you are right above target, you get the most flack. Correct? Correct. So I started to rethink about this whole network between this guy and his troll army, among others this person, and a whole bunch of them. It's really interesting connection, and I am sure, I am really sure, like I said, if some other intelligence services do a follow-up into the activities of this, how should I call it, asset. What else can I call him, right? If that person is clearly having all these connections, right? What can I call a person like this? Only an asset. If he works for the Defense Department, has a company that goes after people, companies, and not only private people, also political opponents, goes after them with a whole network of trolls to close their accounts, to stifle opposition, and, as I found out, also to try and stifle that I looked into this Wild Beast network and even uploaded, you can find them on YouTube, even uploaded the live talks with the AIVD, with the police, all in the Dutch language. I also talked and have it live on video. Robert van der Noorda, how your former employees thought about your person calling himself a investigative journalist. She had to respond laughing, spontaneous, when I was very seriously asking if I could talk with you, because that was your last employer, I believe, before you became an asset, of course, of another employer, as I claim here. Yes, as I claim here. And I am 100% sure of it, Robert van der Noorda. But you know, have you ever read Sun Tzu, The Art of War? And do you know that a revenge is a dish best served cold? I videotaped back then everything that went on the Twitter, from everyone, from every side. So it was easy later via looking back in my old videos to make screenshots out of those videos and have metadata. Have all the metadata. When your enemy is a choleric enemy, what did Sun Tzu teach you? Then provoke him. Provoke him. For sure, in their arrogance, like making false claims, Robert van der Noorda, you did. I have it all on video. That I made any death threats. And then you, by spreading those false claims, and this English lady spreading the false claim, I made death threats against her, and then all sorts of lead followers making the very same claims. You catch my point? And all because I uploaded also those videos, and of course the first one in which I told you, Dutch, how ashamed I was for the visit of Zelensky on 4 and 5 May. How that defiled the commemoration days that are upcoming again, but which I can never celebrate anymore without thinking about this evil visiting the very same commemorations that reminds the sacrifices of the previous one. And then this evil steps ground on holy ground. I consider that holy ground. Yes, I hope you too. Especially as a former soldier. I consider that holy ground. Dit nooit meer van de Noorda, zeiden wij. So yes, that's fucking personal to me. Especially for the things some people called me. And I am not someone who neither forgives nor forgets. No, no. And hey, for my old age, I just use the digital world to record you. Have a nice day from the Noorda. Because I will dig deeper. And I will make another video only about forensics and the connections, because I have the screenshots here. All the screenshots that the FSB and everyone else who is interested in a Ukrainian secret service asset who spreads hate, Russophobia, who cheers when attacks happens, who even tells people you want your own signature on a personal message on a Ukrainian drone grenade. I am quite sure that I can see some connections. Have a nice day, Robert van der Noorda. This is just the fucking start.